Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SLO City Together Podcast.
Good job.
Oh, sorry. I getting too hot. Thank you so much. We're here.
We kept going.
What do you mean?
Oh, you gained it down.
Yeah, I'm just gonna adjust on the fly.
Good.
If that's okay.
You did good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What did I do good?
Well,
with?
last podcast you say the SLO City Together.
Oh yeah.
And this time you said SLO City Together Podcast, where
I wasn't as conscious of
strangers
it this time.
become friends become family, and family talk about things.
And I feel like I am one of the Bramer family today.
Thank you.
Because joining us today is Jenna. Welcome.
Bum, 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 bum.
For the second time on the SLO City Podcast.
Hello, everybody.
She was on a special edition back in Thanksgiving.
Yes, that was a good time.
Back during the Thanksgiving season.
Yeah. I honestly didn't listen to that.
Oh,
I should have.
That hurts.
I know that's a little
bit podcast
hurtful.
Owner, as a partner of the podcast.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't listen to last week's, so
Yeah.
I guess we're even.
Well, last week's was actually pretty great.
Yeah. That was
Maybe
a good
I'll go
one.
back and listen to it again.
It's even a better watch because we
oh my goodness.
put up pictures of Lucas a chow.
No, I can't. I think I spent 2 hours from the importing of the video to the exporting of everything.
You did good.
Thank you.
I'll have to
it's
go back
fun.
and watch it.
Yeah. So that's the beauty
now
of the
on YouTube.
video component is we can now add pictures and or overlay other videos
That's fair.
of your choosing.
Yeah.
But maybe when you have a guest come in, you could tell them, "Hey, you're going to be on video,"
Yeah.
so we can prepare.
Future reference.
Reference.
I will notify our guests of the format that this is recorded in.
Yeah.
So, well, good.
Here we are.
Yeah. How's it going?
It's going great.
Yeah.
I brought my dog in here today.
Yeah.
I think we do need to acknowledge the dog.
Also, which Brent was really concerned about, and yet he's sitting here sleeping underneath the table like such a sweet dog.
We're such a San Luis Obispo family.
Yeah, just
You know
bring your
what?
dog everywhere.
Yeah, yep, bring it everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Which is
I think I should preach with him in my lap.
I think you should. He would love it.
He would be terrified.
But you can't bring Moose everywhere.
No,
right?
Moose is
No.
a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Mac
No, Moose
is
is
a
in the
lap
backyard.
dog.
Yeah.
Moose is a wrecking ball.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a sense of envy or jealousy between the two of them? Do you pick that up with Moose? Does he feel a little neglected?
I actually do, because here recently he's really been misbehaving.
Oh no.
And he's getting into things, and that's not normal for him. So I do think there's a sense of jealousy, especially when Mac can get up on the couches and Moose can't.
Oh yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Mac is pet. Moose isn't.
Not true. Whatever.
Moose
I
is,
do have a
Moose
preference
is
for
relegated to
Mac.
the
I like him
backyard. Mac
Yeah.
is inside and
Yeah.
is plush
Moose
carpeted.
loves it.
Yeah.
He's got booties.
He does not.
He's talked to in a sweet tone. Moose is aggressively chastised.
You know what? Moose sheds so bad that he creates an insane amount of work for me.
Yeah.
It's who he is.
And it bothers me.
He can't change the fact that he sheds.
Yeah.
So why are
That's
we going to
true.
put something onto Moose
I just have to put different
that he
limitations
can't
around
change
it.
about himself? Why are we
This is
frustrated with
outrageous.
parts of his personality and who he is?
Oh goodness. I don't know. So John, one of my roommates who has the dog,
Hold
Willow.
on. You have a dog in your house?
Yeah, you didn't know this?
No.
You've been to my house. You've met the dog.
Is he a big dog or a little dog?
She's the size of.
What kind of a dog?
She's a mix. I can never remember how to say like the main part of her breed. It's like
Weimaraner.
Weimaraner.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, is that how you say it?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they
Weimaraner?
shed a little bit. They have like little hair.
She has a longer coat, like a medium long coat, but it's not that much shedding.
Okay.
So
Do you like the dogs?
I do like the dog.
Okay,
It's
sorry,
fun.
go ahead with your
She
story.
can be rude sometimes. One time she was sitting on the couch. Like John will intentionally leave her in the living room because she has like separation anxiety. So one time he left her on the couch while he was in the room, and I came and thought I would ease her comfort or provide some comfort. And as soon as I sit down, she looks over at me and then just gets up and walks away. I was like, well, that feels a little pointed and a bit rude, and my feelings were hurt.
That's hurtful.
But that's okay.
Because I think dogs are aware. She knew she was going to hurt you.
The way she looked at me, like she looked back to be like, okay, I'm leaving
Yeah,
now.
this guy.
So, yeah.
Did you know that all dogs come from wolves?
I feel like I've maybe heard that before. Yeah.
The domestic dog, the
Here we
Canis
go.
lupus familiaris, is believed to have descended from the gray wolf.
Really?
The exact timing and location of the domestication event is still debated among researchers.
Huh.
But that means a Chihuahua came from a wolf.
That's crazy.
How does
You
that
breed
work?
it down.
What about
You're
a
like, let's
doodle?
take the smallest ones. That's like kind of. It's
I
intentional.
don't think that's true.
Yeah.
A Chihuahua comes from a wolf.
Yes, I'm gonna.
There's something else in there.
Chihuahuas
Yeah.
come from wolves. Welcome to the church podcast where we
Yeah.
are diving into the depths of the history of dogs.
No, this is good.
Yeah.
Because don't you?
Yes.
Don't you like genetically
Modify. Yeah. Well, you basically, it's like
animals.
kind of like pairing, like if I want to have a dark-haired child,
Mhm.
I'm going to find someone with a dark-haired gene, right? Or
Yeah.
like if Luke wants to have a redheaded baby,
Uh-huh.
you probably have to have somebody with a redheaded gene. And so you
Think so.
take those gene pools and you
Yeah.
funnel it down into where
Is that scientifically how it all works?
Chihuahuas,
Yeah, that's exactly
like
it.
all domestic dogs, says ChatGTP, are descended from wolves. The
Wow.
domestic dog, including Chihuahuas, originated from the gray wolf
That's crazy.
several thousand years ago,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy. Chihuahuas specifically are a small breed of dog that likely descended from ancient Tachichi dogs, which are companion animals held by ancient Mexican civilizations.
Because I'm wondering, when did the Chihuahua start?
It started as a wolf. And then it just,
Yeah, but then
the
a
tiny
wolf had to be mixed with something
the
else.
runs
Yeah,
of the
right.
So
litter.
what did a wolf get mixed with to
Oh.
start making these
See,
different
you take
breeds?
the runts, you take the runts, and then you find one that didn't have hair, and you're like, oh, that's me. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Speaking of hairless animals, hairless pets.
Okay.
So, Jordan likes to make guitars. He'll buy those kits.
Speaking of
and-
hairless animals,
No.
Jordan Gallagher.
Stay with me, everyone. Stay with me. And so he found Craigslist. He found a kit for a Gibson 335 for $100, which is a really good deal. And so he sent it to me. I've been talking about wanting to get a semi-hollow guitar similar to that. And so I went and checked it out.
Semi-hollow or semi-hairless guitar?
It's a semi-hollow guitar.
Okay.
We're getting to it, I promise.
Okay.
And so I go check it out. I meet the guy. I'm just out on his front porch checking out the kit. And as I'm like leaving, so I'm looking at the guitar, and then I look up and he has like a screen door, to his home. And I look up and there's just a hairless cat.
Oh my god!
Just like on the screen door, just chilling. I think
hanging on it.
Yeah,
Oh.
like
my
cats will just
gosh.
like hang on things.
Terrifying.
And he just like, it was the
Gross.
weirdest thing to look up
You're
to
like-
and see.
Yeah.
Just a
How do you
hairless cat.
interact with a hairless cat?
Well, I didn't. I left promptly.
Pet it? Do you hold it?
That's
I don't see why not.
Do
so
they just
gross.
slink around the house and
Yeah.
yeah?
Are they, yeah.
I mean, I'm not a cat guy. I like
Yeah.
cats. But I like
cats.
fun, playful cats.
Right, that you do things with. Yes. Thank you for that demonstration of playfulness.
But I think cats that are hairless are intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
As you said.
I'd say most hairless animals are a little strange, but
Yeah.
if
Because
that's
it's
I don't
kind of
like
like
it.
if you pet a hairless cat,
yeah.
it's just kind of like touching your own arm,
Mhm.
Oh, gross!
It's kind of weird.
Just
I
petting
don't-
skin.
It's an interesting,
I'm sorry.
interesting analogy.
It's a Thursday. It's
It
a
is a
Thursday.
Thursday.
And it's been a long week.
You've had a long week with a lot of
I've had
meetings.
A long week.
Yeah.
Lots of meetings.
Yeah. So,
Do you like sitting in meetings?
good
No.
question.
Hmm.
No.
No, I don't like stationary. I like movement. Some meetings are really good, like because you're planning movement.
Yeah.
Or you're talking about movement. But I
Mhm.
think when I'm sitting in the same seat for a long time, I get a little antsy.
Yeah.
But this week, yeah, we had our SLO City helped plant Refuge Church Ojai Valley with Kyle and Joy Costello. And so on Tuesday, I went down. Before I move on with this, were you done with your hairless cat story?
Yeah, that was the
Okay,
end. I
okay.
did buy
Thank you
the
so
kit,
much.
just so you know.
Okay.
So hopefully in a few months,
There's resolution
now
now
to
to
the
the
story.
story. I just want to make sure we didn't move on.
Guitar, not car.
So I got to go down to Refuge Ojai. I sit on their board, and SLO City has been huge in the life of that church, and just to see kind of their journey. They're now 6 months in.
Wow.
And it's kind of really, it's really cool because it's helped me reflect on our journey as a church.
Mm-hmm.
And even like the kind of puts me back in that mindset of like early 6 month of SLO City days, and helping him and encouraging him as like I think back on that journey. So both Jenna and I, you know, to talk through like, what was that like? How are you guys doing? How are you guys, you know, wrestling with wins, losses, success, failure? What is success? What is, you know? So that was Tuesday, and then Wednesday was our management team meeting, which was, you know, kind of was an all day. I mean, I was up here at 6:30 and then left and got home last night at 9:30.
Oh goodness. Yeah. That is a big day.
Yeah. I'm not paid by the hour, so it's great.
That's good to know. But are you paid by attendance is what someone asked me once.
I am also not.
The bigger the church, the more money.
So I'm not paid by that. Is that what somebody asked you?
Yeah, when I was at the mattress store buying a pillow, is the guy asked me, he like walked away and comes back. He goes, "Hey, I got a question. If this is okay to ask." I was like, "Okay." And he goes, "How do you make money? How do you get paid?" Yeah. And I was like, "Well, it's like I'm salary employee. Like there's several salary employees." And he was like, "So if the church gets bigger, do you get more money? Like, does the attendance have like this this thing?" I was like, "No, not at all. Not really." So
it's not structured like that. It's not a pyramid scheme.
It's come to church. Yes. It's probably pretty cool. Is this your first time on like a management team for another church? I mean, obviously we have a management team that is oversight for SLO City. Yeah, we have 2 local, possibly 3 local individuals. One just got nominated, who are like come weekly to SLO City Church, and then an external board that comes in, and there are different pastors and executive pastors from around the country that have been with us since the beginning. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Jenna, what, like this, because you told this past Sunday was what, 5 years?
5 years since our first, we had a Christmas service in December of 2018 that was just kind of makeshift. Yeah. But February 17th, 2019 was really our first kind of pre-launch church service. Yeah. And so
just so crazy to think about.
5 years ago.
Yeah. Even those pictures, being back in the cafeteria at Mission Prep with, it's wild.
Luke may or may not put up a picture of that.
I may or may not.
It's not a lot to see. It was the cafeteria.
What's I don't know, like as you think about 5 years ago of having a pre-launch service and just like where we are now, looking back over the past several years, like what comes to mind when you think of those early days and your experience with that?
Gosh, I don't even know where to begin with a question like that.
Open-ended question for sure.
It's a lot of different things. I mean, I can remember exactly how it felt in those early days. There's a lot of, fear, and you have no idea what you're doing, especially in the position that we were in. You come into a city where you literally don't know anyone. Yeah. And then even trying to explain to people, like when they're like, "Why are you here?" And it's that whole conversation of like, "We're going to start a church." You sound like a cult leader. And then they're like, "Well, what's it called?" And you have no name. And they're like, "Where do you meet?" "Well, nowhere." And "Well, who comes?" And it's like, "It's just us." Mm-hmm. And, you just have no idea what to expect. And although you're hopeful that God does something with it, it's also like, but maybe not. And so those first few times that we did anything was kind of like some people came. Yeah. And even the people that were coming were people that we had there were people we met and had built relationships with. So then it was there was always this weird, I remember you thinking or feeling like almost nervous to speak at those, even though you don't normally feel nervous. Yeah. But all of a sudden now you go to, now you're in front of like a room of your peers that you've just been kind of like hanging out with on the soccer field. And now you're like, "Hey, come here and I'm going to talk to you about."
I'm going to preach a sermon.
Yeah. Right, I have some authoritative sort of,
It's a weird dynamic.
And it feels so weird. And you're in a small room. It's a cafeteria. Like it doesn't feel like church. And so it's like some of those, like when I look back on that, I'm like, man, that was weird. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yet.
Beautiful.
It was awesome. Yeah. And we had so much fun with it. And every week was like, it was fun. We had a picture pop up the couple of times that we did some of those like pre-launch services, the night before we would have, you know, whoever is helping lead stuff would come into our house, which at the time was like teeny tiny itty bitty little living room that we have all these people in with all the music equipment, all the sound equipment, any sign or anything. It was all crammed in our tiny little living room.
Kind of creating it then too.
And trying to organize. And so now looking at what is happening here, I probably don't take enough time to pause and reflect and look at that, because when you think back on those days, it's like, whoa, like even though 5 years can feel like a really long time, it's also really not, to see how much, especially with all the, you know, with COVID and everything else, just to see how much has happened in 5 years is really
encouraging.
It's very encouraging and very overwhelming at times. And, but really grateful for it. Like it's been a cool experience. For hard.
Sure. Yeah.
Definitely hard. Like I remember you were talking too recently about back then when it was so small and there's, you know, the few people that are coming are your friends. Then if somebody decides they don't want to be a part of it, was like super hurtful and like,
it feels like personal,
really, really personal. And so I think about that too, because that had happened and it was like, I just felt like such a gut punch.
Yeah. Who was that? I forget.
I don't to do that. I'm pretty sure you pulled up the text message or email you got pretty quickly when we were talking about it.
It was like, man, everything was so, because they're like this. It is. It's like that is planting itself is a personal. Yeah. It's a personal thing. Like you're going through, like you're kind of just exposing yourself and your life. But it's also like you're inviting people to share life together, and that in itself is messy. Like shared life together is messy, and that it squeezes out things in us and in people that, you know, that just did. And I know who you're talking about now. But it's a crazy journey.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's such the interesting and unique dynamic that exists within a church as opposed to some other entity or community, is that it's a place where you're coming for like an expression of faith. It's like I'm coming to church to deepen my faith, but part of that component is the communal aspect of that. So it's this interesting thing of like I'm making a personal investment with other people. It's not just this transactional thing of I'm coming here to receive something, but also coming to be interwoven in all parts of life. And so that's such a unique thing, you know. I feel like you don't really see that in other parts of life outside of the church.
Super unique. And I know, you know, Tim has talked about like even raising kids. He's like, I'm so thankful for the church because like even in parenting, and I don't know if this is a sideways comment from what you're saying, but just talk about that shared life, shared struggle, shared community. You know, even like in raising kids, it's like my kids get to be around people. There's a risk to that, but there's also a huge reward to that. Of like my kids being around you, being around Abby's and Connor's and you know, like how my kids are kind of parented as well by the village, so to speak. And that's cool.
I was going to ask, this is a bit of a topic change, but kind of in the same vein. What is it, you know, as you're thinking about, like we're 4.5 years, like 5 years ago, that pre-launch service, which means 5 years in September will be the 5-year anniversary. I said 5 a lot there. Anyway, what does it look like for you guys? What does that mean to like celebrate that? Or how do you celebrate that? We'll have a party, of course, as we always do. But I think that's something I think about a lot, is like, what does it look like to celebrate, even if it's like family, like you're celebrating something within the family, or I don't know. Is that clear what I'm trying to say? What does it look like to celebrate for you guys? How do you do that?
I mean, even in that question, I honestly haven't even thought about that in this coming up 5-year anniversary, which even in what I'm like, okay, it hasn't even been 5 years, which is crazy. But anyways, I don't know. I think it's really important for us to think on that and figure that out. We've been told often we're really bad at celebrating. Really? And I think just in the like, not bad in celebrating, but like it's hard for us sometimes because there's always so many other things going on that you can get like just stuck in, okay, what do you have to do next? And But I think for this one, for me, it's a personal thing of just reflection and with the Lord. Like, I don't know that, to me, a party, it doesn't really, it's a good thing, and it's something to celebrate, and it is really important, but I think I'll probably want to take time just personally with the Lord in that, because he's been super faithful, and I just need to, for me personally, I need to just take time.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. When she says we're bad at celebrating, I think I'm bad at celebrating. I think just because like of the nature of how, I think we've been encouraged. We have not been encouraged that you are bad at celebrating. They said, just make sure you're taking time to celebrate.
Be intentional.
Because I think like in the nature of the past 5 years, you think about culturally what we've walked through in the past 5 years, from thing after thing after thing. Church planning in itself is hard. And then seeing a church kind of grow and become established is hard. There's a lot of demands. There's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of faithfulness that's required. And so I think like sometimes it's like, okay. And there's a lot of like shepherding, and shepherding sometimes is like, you think about a shepherd with sheep, and not that that's Jesus is our shepherd, right?
Yeah.
But even when you think about shepherding a church in a direction, you're like, you gotta watch out for wolves, gotta watch out for, make sure everybody's eating and everything's safe, and the pins are put, and we're actually reaching more sheep who are lost in the woods, and so it's hard sometimes to go like, all right, let's just party and celebrate. That for me is what I think. As I think about coming up on 5 years, my mind immediately went to Jenna and I are going to be married for 20 years in August.
Wow.
And it's like, how do we celebrate our anniversary?
Yeah.
We get away, we look back, we reflect, we're nostalgic, we're thankful, we're affirming one another, we're celebrating like, man, we did that. We just did 20 years of marriage together.
Yeah.
And I think like similarly, there has to be some kind of ceremonial, moment, trip, time carved out where we're like nostalgic, reflective, telling each other like, dude, we did that. Like, I mean, you've been here how long?
Just over 2 years.
I mean, and those 2 years have not been, they've been amazing, but they've been hard. And like, so even just for you to hear, like, even from us, like, dude, we did this. Like, and every single part of our team is, and volunteer and staff and oversight and whatever, every single person is so imperative. And it's like to that journey. Yeah. And, I don't know. And everybody needs to receive that and celebrate that and not feel bad about taking time to do that. So that's what I often, in me, I sometimes can neglect time to celebrate and go like, man, God, you did that, but we did that too. Like you used us, and like, that's huge. And how do we commemorate that? I don't know. Maybe we should get 5-year anniversary bracelets.
I was going to say tattoos.
Oh,
you remember bracelets?
Do you one further? It's permanently engraved.
I didn't really think about the fact that this is our 20-year anniversary and a 5-year anniversary for the church. Those are big.
Big milestones.
Yeah.
You guys planned that well.
We did.
See, because Jenna's actually good at celebrating. Yeah. I am not the one that's good at celebrating. Jenna throws massive parties, birthday parties specifically. Like birthdays in our house are the way that they are because Jenna set a culture of streamers. Every birthday, somebody wakes up and there's streamers.
Like handmade streamer, like the little chain link ones or whatever.
No. Like the crepe paper. You know what I mean?
Streamers.
Yeah, sure. I'll throw a picture of streamers.
And all the kids look forward to their birthdays. There were handmade cakes. Handmade.
Most cakes are handmade.
We have a robot. Cake making robot at home.
Yes, we do celebrate birthdays well in our house.
That's awesome.
I like the heater.
Yeah, just walk in front of that camera. That's fine. No, that's cool. I think about that a lot. Like at the end of the year, both want to like reflect or look ahead, but then also reflect and celebrate like the good things of a year. And I often wonder, like, does that simply mean like acknowledging that they were good, or is there some other component of intentionality with celebration? So I think that's good to reflect on. Like, what does it mean to celebrate? question that I'm asking. And a question of reflection for the listener.
Was that a statement?
Was that a statement?
Or a question?
I think it was a question.
So you're saying, what are the elements of celebration?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even just in that statement about like at the end of the year, I think I realized this year, the end of the year is kind of an opportunity to shift perspective and look back on the year. Like sometimes when you're in the moments throughout a year, it's like, gosh, this is horrible.
Yeah.
But then when you actually take time to like take a different view and a different perspective and look back as a whole, it looks and feels different and gives you, I don't know, kind of the right frame of mind or the right view.
For sure.
I don't know.
No, that's cool.
That doesn't really have to do with celebrating though.
That's good though. That's helpful. So
I need your question to be restated.
Oh my gosh.
I actually don't think I was asking a specific question so much as I was saying like that's something I want to reflect on more.
What are the elements of celebration?
Yeah, that is a good question.
I think there's a lot. I mean, like if I'm just going out of my head, it's like acknowledging kind of where you started, acknowledging obstacles faced, acknowledging the moments of overcoming, acknowledging like moments of surprise and gratitude and just a movement of God, acknowledging growth that you've experienced or even grief that you've experienced. And like just looking, like if you're like, I'm thinking about Jenna and I have been doing this 52 Peaks and 52 Weeks challenge where we're hiking every Friday. And it's like, you know, sometimes you can get to the top of the trail and you look back down the trail and you're like, oh, that's where we came from. And you notice like the turns and the hills and that was a hard stretch where we were just like grinding up that, go like tack on that hill like crazy. And that was a grind. And, you know, I think it's moments like that of going like, we made it. We made it to the top. Yeah. You know?
Or like getting to the bottom and looking back and seeing like, oh,
look what we just did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're back down in the valley.
Bigger than I thought. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing your perspective on that. That's cool. You're welcome. I think we're about wrapping up, coming close to our time. Can I share? Okay. So, you know, it's the season of Lent, as you know. We've got the Lent devotional available. And I read one this morning. I forget which day it was, but it was one talking about, it's Matthew 7, where he's talking about like praying and asking and seeking and knocking. And I loved the written portion of that. Like, so that was written by people from SLO Church who we partnered with to curate that Lent devotional. And there was like references of Diet Mountain Dew and Wheel of Fortune, vegging out on Wheel of Fortune. I texted our friend Daniel who works at CU and I said, who wrote this? I was like, for one, it was great. Like it was actually really meaningful for me this morning. I was like, man, this is a great reflection. Daniel. But it was also hilarious that I was like, Diet Mountain Dew and Wheel of Fortune. It's just like, it's not the most relatable for me, but it was true and honest for
Diet Mountain Dew is such a Central Illinois drink.
Hey, careful. You've got some Central Illinois listeners on
you
here.
are a Central Illinois person.
Yeah, they're representing.
Jenna, you're on the podcast.
Yeah.
What, if you can, how much more time we got?
We're 29 minutes in, but you're
Go ahead. Do you want to say something about Daniel?
Well, I was just going to make a comment about the Wheel of Fortune thing because actually...
It's coming back around.
Just a week or so ago, Blair and Jordan were at our house, and we watched a very intense episode of Wheel of Fortune that was extremely exciting.
Okay. Does that expose something about our season of life? I was like, we're hanging out with friends and watching Wheel of Fortune.
Hey, we had a great time.
That's what you like. That's what you like.
Really
eating sloppy joes.
No. We were not eating sloppy joes. That is not true. Although I'm not afraid of sloppy joes.
There's a season and a time for a good sloppy joe. One time a year.
In the summer.
Yep. Talk about IF for a minute and why people should sign up and what you're excited about for IF and women's ministry going forward.
Yeah. Super excited. It's our women's weekend. It's coming up March 15th and 16th. I'm really excited about it this year because we're not doing it live, which gives us an opportunity to kind of pick and choose some of the material that we're using. and also bring in some of our own women to share their stories. We're going to get to hear a lot of testimonies of just what God's been doing here in the lives of some of the women in our community, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're going to have incredible worship, which I'm pumped for. And
yes, we are.
Yeah, it's just every year, it's just a really powerful weekend for our women. No matter, it's been hard every year, because last year we were at Broad Street for it, and it was kind of really difficult. Really got thrown for a ringer last year, because it was like we had no TVs, we had no screens, we didn't know what to do. It was kind of a mess, and it was amazing. And the year before that, the weekend that we had planned to do it, my whole family ended up with COVID, and I think a couple other people on staff, and so we had to cancel it and then reschedule it, which was and we rescheduled it over spring break, and it just was like really difficult, and yet it was awesome. And so this year, I'm sure there will be challenges ahead, but I think we're just excited that right now we've got a place to do it, and so far all seems smooth sailing, which is a risky thing to say, but yeah, I think I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be a really awesome weekend. And
so if you're not signed up, ladies, sign up.
Yeah, do it. It's honestly, it's like there's just so much going on right now, and I think for the women, there's, they've got a lot on their plates, and there's nothing better than just being able to come together and square away some time to, focus our hearts on Jesus and worship together and spend time together and eat some good food. So
for sure,
it's gonna be a good weekend.
Yeah, that's exciting. And then I'm trying to think, is there anything else coming up?
So much. We have Start Here lunch this Sunday. We've got a baptism interest lunch, kind of a baptism class. Like, what is baptism? What could it look like for those stepping in? We have, what else do we have coming up? We have some other things.
Men's breakfast happening?
Men's breakfast is happening the following Saturday, March 9th. There's a next phase event coming up. There's groups at home are happening right now.
We're going to launch. Next phasers have fun.
They do have fun. They do have fun. They went to like a Whitney Houston
trivia night
or something.
I would have loved to have
been. Awesome.
It's very specific.
Oh, I want to dance with somebody.
Oh my gosh.
I want to feel the heat with somebody. But I think lots coming up in the life of the church, and I think even as we move through the Lenten season, you've got Palm Sunday, Good Friday worship night service happening. Easter, we're gonna have 5 services that'll be announced this Sunday, 7 a.m. sunrise, which Luke and I are gonna be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for. 8:30.
We're actually just gonna sleep here.
Yes.
So that we can
roll right out.
We just roll out and do it.
You could do that.
As we rise, so the service as we rise out of our slumber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
7 a.m., 8:30, 10, 11:30, and 6 p.m. So I'm really excited for that. We've got some got some obstacles to tackle in the building, just to create more room. But we are encouraging you to invite somebody. Yeah. Invite somebody
to the 6 p.m. service,
or the 8:30. Or the 10's going to be busy. Yeah. So it'll be good.
Yeah. That's exciting. A lot to look forward to.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you. Thanks for jumping on here. Jenna, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Glad the dog did okay.
And thank you, Mac. We appreciate
great.
you.
He's here for all of our emotional support.
Yeah. Does he comfort you just by looking
his
at
presence? Yeah. I'd say so. I feel comforted.
Yeah.
We're humans. We like to have life.
This came from a wolf somehow.
Mac, you came from a wolf.
Passive.
And look we need to celebrate. We need to acknowledge where he came from, a wolf. And recognize the journey that took to get there, and now celebrate who he is today.
Yeah.
His gene pool has been manipulated thousands of times.
Yeah, maybe we don't. I don't know if we celebrate genetic mutations. But I'm
thankful for it.
How does a wolf not shed? Let's find
a chihuahua. All right. Anyway, have a wonderful day. We'll talk with you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Care.